everyone, this is Esther Camacho and my colleague Francisco Sieta with the McAllen Public Library. And welcome to another episode of Visions in Time. Today we will be visiting a Spanish Revival estate with tropical gardens and a world-class birding center with over 250 species of birds. This adobe mansion was built by Jameson Matthews and his wife Marcia Matthews. Let's visit with two special people here at Quinta Mazatlan. Colleen Hook, the manager, to learn more about its history, and with John Brush, the urban ecologist, to learn more about the plant and animal life that resides here in Quinta Mazatlan. So first, let's go outside and meet John Brush. We are here with John Brush from Quinta Mazatlan, outdoors. So let us learn about plant and animal life here. So John, why don't you tell us about some of the unique plant and animal life here?
Absolutely. So the Rio Grande Valley as a whole is one of the most biodiverse, that means life diverse areas in the entire country. And Quinta Mazatlan hosts a lot of the really fascinating plants and animals that call the valley home. So we are part of the World Birding Center system, so we like to celebrate our feathered friends. Plain chachalacas, we just saw some a little while ago, are one of the birds that we call a South Texas specialty bird. So they're only found here in South Texas in all the United States. So if you want to see that bird, you got to come to the Rio Grande Valley to see them. So we have a lot of birds this time of year in the summer that are entering their breeding season. So they're making nests, they're singing, they're feeding their young, and we're even starting to see some fledgling birds, so young birds that have left the nest. In terms of plants, we've got so many different flowering plants here in the park. Our wildflower meadow is full of all these different sorts of wildflowers that are attractive to pollinators like bees, butterflies, flies, wasps, all sorts of beautiful and fascinating insects that are supported by our local habitat here. So for the valley, because we're centrally located in the United States, if you look at the East Coast and the West Coast, we're about halfway in between. A lot of animals kind of funnel through the valley as they migrate south. So we do get monarch butterflies that pass through the area as they migrate down into Michoacan, Mexico, and then back north as they head through and spread out throughout the United States. And we also get hundreds of species of migratory birds that migrate to and through the Rio Grande Valley.
What is one of the most popular birds that you see here most often, that people want to see?
One of the top ones are the green jays. Green jays are one of the most sought after birds by people that live in the valley and people that visit the valley from elsewhere. They're a beautiful bird. They're the city bird of McAllen, and they've got a bluish head on a green body with some black markings on their face and yellow in their tail. And they're another bird that doesn't get anywhere further north than South Texas. So you want to see that bird, you got to come to South Texas to see them. And if you're lucky enough, if you have enough native plants in your yard and your neighborhood, you might even get to see green jays in your yard.
Wow.
Absolutely. We're really what I like to call a multi-use facility. So there's a lot of different things you can do here at Quinta Mazatlan. You can come out and just walk the trails. We've got a beautiful over half mile of trails that go through our forests and our gardens, where you can see the birds and the butterflies and all the wildlife that we have here. But then we also have a lot of programming that we offer for the public as well. Right now we're offering our summer camps series, and these go into early August. We offer flashlight nights, which is one of the ones that I lead, where we go out at night every Tuesday at 8:30 in the summer, and we take flashlights and we try to find interesting wildlife that only comes out at night. So if you've never been to Quinta Mazatlan at night, it's a really different and fun experience. And then on Thursdays at 7 p.m., we also have our family Thursday evening series, where we have things like live reptile shows, magic shows. We have a superhero themed trail coming this summer. So there's something for any age group to visit here and enjoy at Quinta Mazatlan. We've got a variety of animals. Birds are one group of animals that we have, but we also have a lot of reptiles and amphibians and mammals, and then tons of insects that live here at the park. So in terms of mammals, if you're gonna walk the trails, probably the ones you're gonna see most are our cottontail rabbits and our fox squirrels. And maybe if you're lucky, you might get to see one of our javelinas that lives and runs off into the woods. In terms of reptiles and amphibians, we've got lots of frogs and toads out because of the rains. And we have lots of very harmless species of snake that live here in the park too. Things that are not going to bother anybody and are not dangerous to people. We have over 35 sculptures spread throughout the park, and they're of a lot of the different plants or animals that you're going to be able to see here in the valley. So this one right over here is a northern cardinal. We've got some of tortoises, of indigo snakes, of chachalacas, of all the characteristic animals that you might see here in the valley. So that's yet another thing that people can enjoy when they visit, is see some of our local art, and they're all done by a local artist.
Let's visit with Colleen Hook, manager of Quinta Mazatlan, and learn more about its history. Hi, Colleen. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Colleen Hook. I'm the manager at Quinta Mazatlan, and I've been fortunate to work with the city a couple of years before we opened the World Birding Center, which was in 2006. And the concept was to promote ecotourism in the Rio Grande Valley. So there are 9 other World Birding Center sites from Roma to South Padre Island.
Tell us a little bit about the history of Quinta Mazatlan.
So when you enter the gates to Quinta Mazatlan, first of all, you'll be greeted by the chachalacas and our many other birds, and it's almost like you're stepping back in time, and you are. And so this is a place where our past inspires our future. This thorn forest here was many, many years in the making, and then our first family came along, Jason and Marcia Matthews. And they were like winter Texans. They would frequent the valley. They would go to Mazatlan, Mexico, and fell in love with the Spanish Revival style architecture, and then decided to purchase a home here in McAllen on one of the highest knolls in McAllen in the 1930s. And he was an adventurer, an explorer, and he lived off the land. And so he built an adobe home, 10,000 adobe blocks just right down the street, got permission from the city, again on one of the highest knolls, to make 10,000 adobe blocks made of sand and clay, and I think there's a little straw and water in it. And clearly it's held through all our hurricanes and everything. And so everything in this house is just a little bit crooked, and but custom made, and all the materials within a 30 to 60 mile radius. The beautiful hand-painted calaveras tile, the saltillo. I mean, just every nook tells a story and is made by some artist. Mr. Jason Matthews was they produced American Mercury magazine right here on the premises. He was a protector of our country. He knew someday something was going to happen, and so he lived off the land. He did hydroponic experimentation with tomatoes. He had a well for his water. He grew lime trees, mango trees, all sorts of, so he would be ready if something ever happened. They broadcast a radio show from here. Again, a strong protector of our country, and with the magazine and the radio show, they were very active worldwide. They were also known for bringing in big celebrities and politicians to this house. And they lived pretty simply, though, with nature. They believed in a home and a habitat. So they never cleared the forest, they never cut the forest. And he would sit in his hooch area, which was the second floor of the cottage that he had built, drink port wine, do his writing, and enjoy the trees and the wildlife that would come in. So to him, the home and the habitat was one. When the family passed, the local church, the Methodist church, came in for about a summer in 1967, and it became, with the children's approval, they had a Mazatlan coffee house here. And so they did poetry and reading and entertainment. And a family named the Schultzes, Frank and Marilyn Schultz, attended that church and fell in love with Quinta Mazatlan and knew that the house was up for sale. I think at that time they did try to get the house to be purchased by a public entity, but that didn't happen at that time. So the Schultz family purchased the home. He was an agricultural mogul, so he had the means necessary to take a simple adobe home and create an estate out of it. And so they took on Quinta Mazatlan, which was named Quinta Mazatlan by the first owners. Quinta in Spanish means country estate, and Mazatlan is an indigenous word meaning where the deer roam. And I'm sure at that time the deer did roam around here. So the Schultz family also loved the home and the habitat. And they could have cleared it, and subdivided it, but they encouraged the forest and they expanded the forest, and they had some beautiful features, a lot of the patios and a lot of the more manicured gardens around the home, and turned it into more of a mansion. The second family is also credited with getting a historic marker. When you enter Quinta Mazatlan on the gates, you'll see the historic marker, and is dedicated as one of the largest adobe homes in the state of Texas. So when they lived here also 30 years, the second family lived here for 30 years. And they put the home up for auction in 1998. And the city of McAllen was at the auction. Mayor Montalvo, I believe he was given approval to bid up to 1.2 and sold to City of McAllen for 1.3. You can imagine what the newspapers are saying the next day: buying this mud house, what's the purpose? And that's the kind of visionary leaders we have in McAllen. So we purchased it in 1998, did a lot of grant writing and fundraising. Hurricane Beulah had just come through. We needed, new roofs, restrooms, trails, all the things that you need when you open a public facility. There were actually no trails through the woods, so we had to be very careful not to knock down trees and to create these areas for families to attend. And then we opened in 2006 to the public with the same thinking. The home and the habitat was so very important.
And what is your vision today for Quinta in the future?
So, in Texas, you don't want all the land, you just want the land next to you. And so that's sort of been our mantra from day one. And, we started with 8 acres. And the city of McAllen, our leadership, our mayors, all our mayors have had a big vision for Quinta Mazatlan. It was meant to be more. It's meant to be for the children. It's meant to teach stewardship. And it's, we all live in an urban area right now, so we're all having fewer and fewer opportunities to connect to nature. And that's so, so very important. So we've moved now from 8 acres to 25 acres, and we are working on a major capital campaign, a $35 million vision for the additional 12 acres to build a Center for Urban Ecology in partnership with the University of Texas. So this will almost become a college campus where you're going to see students and professors here working on urban ecology. There will be a 5-acre children's adventure outdoor playground like no other. MPU has sponsored what we call Rio Walk. So the Rio Grande River is a river we share with 2 countries and 3 states. It's a powerful, important river, and it's important that we all take care of it. And there'll be a physical metaphor on this children's adventure garden. It will be a 1/4 mile walk along a man-made creek, and it's going to start at the waterfalls of Colorado and take you all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. So it'll be a little historic walk, teaching and inspiring all ages to, number one, want to learn our culture, appreciate our culture, our natural and cultural heritage, and then hopefully find a hobby in nature. It could just be walking in the woods, it could be planting plants, it could be nature photography, it could be nature journaling, but finding some way, reading, finding some way to connect to nature so you're continually taking your stewardship walk. You know, when you take a picture of a flower or a lizard, or a bird, your first question is, what is the name of that? Well, that's a chachalaca. And they fly no farther north than the Rio Grande Valley. You have to come to our neck of the woods to see the chachalaca. And then, oh, what do the chachalacas eat? Or, oh, what are the chachalacas, where do they live? And then so you're starting to learn the storyline of the importance of the habitat. And I would love a buff-bellied hummingbird in my backyard. What do I plant? Well, you plant Turk's cap. And they're just fun steps. It's a fun hobby. And so Quinta Mazatlan has always been a home. The city of McAllen is the third family. And so wouldn't it be great if all our neighbors started little habitats for wildlife? And then you think of it as a pearl necklace. Here's one neighbor, and here's one neighbor, and another neighbor, and another neighbor, and then all of a sudden you've created this beautiful wildlife corridor for all these beautiful birds and butterflies and all of the animals that, you know, lived here long before we came along.
This is Esther Camacho with the McAllen Public Library, and thank you for watching this episode of Visions in Time on Quinta Mazatlan. A big thanks to Colleen Hook and John Brush and my colleague Francisco Sierra. Be sure to visit their website at quintamazatlan.com for activities and programs for all ages. So see you next time on another Visions in Time.